I want to welcome in Austin from Xero. I think I mentioned on the last one that CSSI and Xero were my first two were the society's first two partners, and so they've been with us going on 5 years. They've been great partner. They've helped sponsor Summer of Fun. They're active in our Independent Accountant Alliance group, and they've just been really supportive of the society. So they're a great option. And so we encourage you to reach out to them if you're looking for alternatives to QuickBooks and some of those other things that are out there. So I'll leave it to you, Austin, to take it and tell us all about Xero. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Daryl. I'm going to share my screen, and while I get this going, I'll take a quick moment to introduce myself. My name is Austin Sprayberry. I'm the what we call a partner consultant that works with all of our partners here in Colorado. And that's just a fancy word or term for I have an accounting background. My background's in corporate accounting. I worked for a healthcare technology company as well as an oil and gas company. And I'm here to help you use Xero as an accounting platform. So whether that's getting you trained up, training your staff for you, helping with any client onboardings, implementing any new workflows, I will be your main resource. I work with my partner, Devin Eppers, who wasn't able to make the call today, but basically you reach out to either one of us and you're getting to both of us, and we support all of our partners here in Colorado. Um, Zoom's a little bit of a away game for me, so can you guys see my screen okay? I will
We
take
can, yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay,
Looks good.
awesome. So when you first sign into Xero, it's going to take you to one of two places. The first one is what we call Xero Blue, which is a Xero client file, this blue banner across the top, or it'll take you to Xero HQ, which is kind of like your light practice manager when you're within Xero. I'm going to go through Xero Blue first, and if we have some time at the end, we'll circle back to Xero HQ. But for now, we're going to stick it strictly to a client file. And right now, we're in the demo company. Anyone with a Xero login will have access to the Xero demo company, and it's free to get a Xero login. So anyone has access to this. And all it has is some transactions for us to reconcile, a couple bank accounts set up, some pre-existing history, just so we can kind of see what we're looking at. And this does reset every 30 days. So feel free to play around in here and then it'll reset automatically, or we can manually reset it as well. So if you want to test out any new imports, any new exports from any parts of the software, this is a great place to try it out. As well as going through me, I'm also happy to help with anything along those lines. But today, again, we're going to keep it pretty high level, and I'm going to stick to the navigation to start. So this is the demo company. Here we're on the dashboard. So if you click that button, you'll just take you right back to the screen here. We have our bank account on the left-hand side for our checking account and our savings account. Don't know why I clicked the button since we were already there, but anyways, our bank accounts here on the left. We have a nice cash flow graphic showing cash in and out each month. We have an account watch list for anything we're keeping an eye on. We can always change this too as we want. We have our invoices owed to you and bills you need to pay tiles. This is the same thing as our AR and our AP agings, if you will. The dashboard was made for your end user to be able to digest their financial data a little bit easier. So, in an effort to save you a couple emails a month, maybe, we labeled these bills you need to pay and invoices owed to you. All of our accounting reports will have the standardized accounting terminology. Just the dashboard uses this simplified version. And then we have our expense claims down here at the bottom. And then we can always edit this dashboard as well. So if we don't care about the AR and the AP, maybe our client just handles that. We can hide this away. We want to see that cash flow graphic up at the top. We can change this and save changes. And this will only affect your user login. So within Xero, there are no user limits. You could have as many people invited in here as you would like. And that, what we just did, will only affect your login and not what anyone else sees. That's the basics for the dashboard here. Next, we'll go to this demo company button here. I refer to this as the home button. It'll always say a different name. In the demo company, it says demo company. If we're in my books, it'll say my name. If we're in Daryl's books, it'll say Daryl's name. Or if we're in Xero HQ, it'll say our firm's name. But I like to refer to it as the home button because you can always find it no matter where you are within Xero. So specifically, if we click on this home button and then down at the bottom, there's these four options that are in gray. Xero HQ is that light practice manager. You're basically showing a list of all of your clients. My Xero is where you can manage your subscriptions. We can upgrade or downgrade whenever we would like. And then Work Papers is our audit solution. And then Practice Manager is our full practice management solution. If you're interested in learning more about either of these two, please let me know. We can always dive into that a little bit deeper, but won't have time for that today. Now we have all these options up here in the white. They're specifically for this client file. So for this example, this is all for the demo company. We have our files tab here. If we click into here, you'll see that each Xero subscription will have its own file storage. And within this file storage, we have our own unique email address. We could give this to our clients. They could send in their bank statements as they get them each month, send in any of their invoices, take a picture of a bill, send it in here. We can create different folders. We can drag and drop, upload any files that we need, and we can actually push in an invoice we email to here into an invoice within Xero. So it kind of saves you that step of having to reattach it. So kind of a great place to save everything that you're looking for. Or if you want to save all tax returns, you can always dump them into here. Then we have our settings. I like to call this the housekeeping settings because we have our basic settings here. And we also have a separate section for our advanced accounting settings, like our chart of accounts, our starting balances, and things along those lines. And of course, my Wi-Fi is going to be a little bit slow today while we're on a call, so bear with me. All right, back to the dashboard, back into settings. And this is where we'll add in our basic ID, like tax identification number, adding in a logo if you wanted to for our clients, manage our invoice settings for net 30, net 45, net 60, as well as add in any additional users. So there's it's still loading in, so you're not missing anything on the screen, but there's two different places in Xero to add in new users. One of them is this users button here, which is where you'll add in your client, let's say. You can give them a variety of different access, whether that's read-only access, full advisor where they could do anything that you can do, or somewhere in between. Happy to talk through that with you as well. But when you set them up, it won't work in the demo company because you cannot invite anyone in. But it'll walk you through all of the permission levels that you can give. And then here's all the other options. And again, we're going to keep it pretty high level today since we only have 30 minutes. So if anything does catch your eye and you want to learn more about, please let us know. We're happy to schedule a one-on-one meeting as well. All right, back to the home button. Here's where we can toggle between our different clients. You can see we can also add in a new client here. I only have 2 live ones right now, so they're listed here. If I had 25, let's say, it wouldn't just be some long list you have to scroll through to get to these other options. There'd just be a button that says change organization. And then these next 5 options here. So payroll, Xero does not have their own payroll integration. We utilize the App Store, the app ecosystem. So Gusto, ADP, Paychecks, or any of the other major players in the market, we can connect through the App Store here. Gusto is our preferred payroll provider, so that one has its own link here. And if you already have a Gusto account set up, all that will do is prompt you to log in and then set up that integration. Next, we have expense claims. So this is reimbursable expenses for this client file. We have some additional analytics. HubDoc is a receipt management solution. So if you're managing a lot of receipts for a specific client, we will show you HubDoc. We don't have time to get into that today either, but that is something we can always dive into on a one-on-one basis. Then the App Store I briefly touched on. We have over 1,000 different approved integrations. We also have an open API, which is a little bit above my pay grade, but basically anyone that has this coding background can make an integration between Xero and any other platform that has an open API or anything that they self-developed. So they're always adding new ones into here. So for instance, if you're in the restaurant space, we utilize Toast. Toast is not found in the App Store. However, you can still connect it with Toast, and we are bringing it onto the App Store. So that is a little bit more confusing. We can always dive in deeper. But basically, if you can't find what you're looking for through the App Store, just let me know and we can Google it and kind of show what that integration could look like for you. All right, that's all that's on that home button. Clicked on the dashboard to take us back home. And then I'm going to go over some of these last options here for navigation. Underneath the business tab, you can find your analytics found up here at the top. We have our invoicing module, which goes quotes to invoices. We have our billing module, which goes purchase orders to bills. We have expense claims again. Products and services is a light version of inventory. And then checks. Excuse me. Then underneath the accounting dropdown, we have 3 modules. We have bank accounts, reports, and advanced settings. So bank accounts is where you will set up all of your bank accounts, create your bank rules and things like that. Reports is just our reporting library with all of our default reporting favorites. And then advanced settings with all of our advanced reporting favorites. Excuse me. I caught my tongue real quick. That's always nice and embarrassing on a call. I'm gonna fight through and try to catch my voice back here real quick. This is our accounting drop down, our advanced accounting favorites. Then we have our projects here, which is for job costing. So if you're working with a plumber, a painter, a landscaper, they can always imagine, or oh god, sorry, they track their projects here. Our contacts is for all of our contact cards. We have our plus button up here, which we can quickly create a system entry like an invoice, bill, contact, quote, PO, or manual journal. We have our search function for anything we want to look up within Xero. And then this question mark. Well, I'm your main resource for finding anything without in Xero. You can always come into here and do an additional research as well. So you can type in invoice and a bunch of help articles on how to create an invoice, how to create an invoice template, and how to edit an invoice. We also, Xero is only in the cloud. There is no desktop version. You can always contact Xero support right here in the bottom right corner as well. All right, thanks for sticking with me through that. That's the basics of navigation. The next thing I want to jump into is our reconciliation module. So you can see here on the checking account tile, we have reconcile 29 items. This will take us to our reconciliation homepage. And bear with me while I explain this. This is one of the biggest differences between Xero and our competitors, is the reconciliation process. So I'm going to explain. So you have these two numbers at when you start out. We have statement balance, which is only affected when you're importing bank statement lines, either through a bank feed or a manual import. And then we have our balance in Xero, which is the general ledger for this bank account. So you can see here we have four tabs. Bank statements is the source of truth for this bank statement number. Account transactions is the source of truth for this balance in Xero number. Now what we have is reconcile tab and cash coding. First, I go to the reconcile tab and I do all of my system entries like invoices, bills, and checks. You can see these ones light up green. Sorry, let me take a step back. On the left-hand side is what's coming in from the bank, and on the right-hand side is what we're going to do to reconcile those transactions. So you can see here the ones that are a check popped up. So check 1236 for $1,100 is recommending a match in the system. So check 1236 for Truxton Property, $1,100. And all we need to do to reconcile this transaction is click OK, and boom, done. We have another one for an invoice. So Ridgeway University matches Ridgeway University. Invoice 0035 matches invoice 35. Amounts match. And I'm going to scroll up here so you'll see as I click OK to reconcile this transaction, our balance in Xero will change. It just is taking a second now since I brought it up. And our statement balance did not change. There it goes. So as we reconcile these transactions, this balance in Xero will get closer and closer to this statement balance until we've gotten through all of our transactions. We will be fully reconciled to one number. This first page is where we go through, do all of our invoices, bills, and checks. And then from there, we go to cash coding. And this is where you'll do a lot of your manual reconciling. So think bulk reconciliation or bank rules, or if you're doing it after the fact accounting, this is where you'll live. So anything not invoice, bill, or check related, come to cash coding. I like to organize this by the payee, kind of see the lay of the land to see what we're looking at. So we have the payee, reference, and description, as well as the amount on the far right come in from the bank. The account coding column is all we need to fill in to reconcile from this screen. So as you can see here, we have not done anything, and 7-Eleven's automatically been coded to auto expense. This is utilizing a bank rule within Xero. So anything containing the term 11 spelled out like this will automatically go to automobile expenses. So imagine here, like we have an Amazon, we have a Costco, we have a couple parking, we got a bank fee, we got Starbucks. So two features I want to highlight here. One is, let's say we just know all of this is going to go to the same expense account. We can just type in general expenses, tab over, it'll fill it in for everything. Second thing is let's imagine that we came into Xero to reconcile and all of this information was already filled in for us because we had created those bank rules in the past. So all you would need to do to reconcile these transactions is click OK or save at the bottom. All of these transactions that have the account coding filled in will now be reconciled, and we will be left whatever's left over, where we can either create new bank rules, or for instance, the Central City parking transaction, or we can just manually code the rest of these one-offs and complete our reconciliation for the month. So there's a couple things to do here. I'm going to just highlight a couple grouping. So click on the top line, hold down shift, click on the bottom line. We'll just call this auto expense as well, tab over, and it'll fill it in for everything. We can click save and reconcile that way. And then for creating bank rules, I can help you do this your first couple times, but it's pretty straightforward. We'll take one of these examples after this one loads through. We'll take the Swanson security quickly. All right. So what I like to do is highlight the line just because we're going all the way over here to the right to this little caret, create bank rule. And so this first section is we can apply this rule to any or all of the following conditions that we lay out. Basically, we can make these as specific as we want or as broad as we want. This example, we're just going to do one line, so it doesn't really matter. So one line, the field is the payee. I like to change this from equals to contains. Sometimes they'll come over as Swanson security with a space. Sometimes they'll come over like that. Sometimes it'll come over just any different way. So I'm going to do contains. I'm just going to do Swanson. And then we can create our contact right here for Swanson security. And please ignore my typing. I'm notoriously bad when people are watching. All right. And then the next piece after we set the contact is to allocate the lines. This top section is to allocate based on a fixed amount. And this second one is to allocate based on percentages. So for this example, 100% of our transactions all going to the same place. We'll just call this security. We'll just put this to, doesn't really matter, general expenses. And then the region right here, this is what we call tracking categories, or as QuickBooks calls classes. If we wanted an extra signifier, we could add that in here as well. Or we can go to the next section, which is set the reference column. So for this example, we're going to set this during bank reconciliation. And then we can add the rule to all bank accounts or just one specifically. And then as a best practice, I like to label these with the expense account in front and then the name. And then now you'll see as we save this bank rule, it'll come through and that line will be automatically coded for us. And then as we go through and import transactions for the next month, anything containing that Swanson security will automatically be in there for us. We click save and then boom, we're done. So that's the basics of reconciliation within Xero. Normally is a time to jump in for questions. So we don't really have time for that today. So if you do have any questions on that, please let me know. I'm happy to talk through this. We are actually adding a new tab, a fifth tab onto the screen. That's going to be a lot more of a full month reconciliation where you can lock the period after. It is not in beta testing yet. So when that is done, if you are interested in learning more about that reconciliation process, please let me know. But for now, we will soldier on. So let's say we coded those parking transactions to auto expense. And now thinking a little bit more about that, I think those belong more in, let's say, parking or travel expense. So all we're going to do is we're going to click on the accounting drop down. And underneath our advanced settings, we're going to go to find and recode. And then this is going to do exactly what we say it's going to do. It's going to find our transactions to recode them. So we'll click on our find and recode button. And similar kind of to the bank rules, we can search for as specific a transaction as we're looking for. For instance, the first thing is I know I entered these. So let's say Austin's a new employee. We can't trust him yet. We need to review all of his work. We can search everything that I've entered into the system. You'll see we have our contact, invoice number if applicable, our transaction total, and our expense account. Or for this example, I just know I made a mistake. So I'm going to know I put this to auto expenses. We'll click search. And now it's everything that I've entered into the auto expense account. And so you can see our transactions right here. We could highlight a grouping again if we wanted to, or just to show the power of this tool, I'm going to add in, I know that the contact for this was Central City Parking. And then now it'll be everything that we're looking for. So I'm going to grab everything and we could recode either the source transaction or recode it with a manual journal entry. If we just click the recode button, it'll recode the source transaction. We could change the contact if we wanted to. The example for that is I use Venmo for a lot of things. So everything I Venmo for $1,000 is rent. So I could change that to the person I'm paying rent to, hypothetically. Or we could change the account coding, the tax rate, or if we used add, we could change those tracking categories. For now, I'm just going to change this to travel expense. That's not an error. It's not sure you want to proceed. And we do. And so this is going to recode all 5 of these transactions from the source. So when it loads this in, we're going to be able to click on the transaction and see a full audit trail of exactly what came in and out. Sorry, not what came in and out, of the exact changes that were made. Bear with me one moment. That storm Daryl's talking about is rolling through. That's why my Wi-Fi is being slow. Here we go. So we'll scroll. If we click on one of these lines, I'm in Xero all day, every day, and I promise you this is the slowest it's loaded in about a month for me. So do not take this as a sign of the speed of Xero. This is my Wi-Fi, unfortunately. While that's loading in, I'm just going to preemptively get us back to the dashboard on that screen. All right, so now we scroll to the bottom, we click show history. It's going to load us in the exact change that was made, the exact date and the timestamp and the user that made them. So this example, if you came in here, you could see pretty quickly, oh, they made a mistake and quickly changed it. Or maybe you come in here and you're like, why has my client recoded this 10 different times? So you can see the exactly kind of what's going on and exactly who's doing what to your book. All right, we'll close that out. We'll go back to the dashboard. The next thing I want to jump into is going over our reporting. So I'm going to click on accounting and then reports. And this is going to take us to our reporting library. And we have a vast amount of reports already pre-built out for you. And so these are the favorites. That's what's popping up here. The 1099s gives me a little PTSD, so I like to get rid of that one. And it just gets rid of it right there. Then we can just scroll through. We have our financial performance reports. Make that a little bigger. Financial statements, our AR and our AP reporting, payroll, projects, reconciliations, taxes, transactions. And if we don't have something that you are looking for, we also have the blank report, which we can custom create anything for you that you need. But for now, I'm going to jump into an income statement here and kind of just go over some of the basic customization you can do within Xero. So if that's minimized in this top left corner, this little caret, we can quickly see the common formats like a budget variance, a current versus prior 3 months, current fiscal year by month, etc. We can also create anything quickly with these drop downs. So if we wanted to see this month, quarter, year, last month, last quarter, last year, month to date, quarter to date, year to date, a custom date range. So my corporate accounting brain always thinks on a last month basis. So let's say we just closed August and we want to run a comparison report. We could quickly add in a comparison period here with 1, 2, 3, or 4 months or a different number. So I'm going to add in just one. We could also run a P&L based on our tracking categories. That's not available when you're doing it based on a comparison. So we'll just update this now. I'm also going to change our title to comparison income statement. And you'll see that we have our new income statement with August and our July. And this is the thing that maybe drives me the most crazy about Xero is that August is on the left of July automatically. But have no fear. We can go to edit layout in the bottom left corner and we can quickly move these by just dragging and dropping the columns or rows. You can just drag August over to the right of July, and boom, we're done. Same thing with these. We can grab sales, put it on the top here. We can also drag and drop any of these expenses if we wanted to see them in a certain order, or we can create a big grouping here. This is not best practice, but just to show the effect, we'll call this miscellaneous expenses. And we can have this with the caret open where we can see the full breakdown and the total. Or maybe you want to clean up your income statement and make it a few less lines. You can close this down as well. I'm going to leave it open. And then I'm also going to add in, we could do a text block, schedule, row, footer. I'm going to add in another column for a variant. And all this is going to do is compare our August and our July. And it's going to give us these fun red and green arrows pointing up and down. So when we give this to our clients at the end of every month, you kind of see at a quick glance where they're doing well and where they need to do some work. So for instance, sales is up, red, that's good. Expenses red, up, bad. So we can hopefully save some questions for you at the end of every month. But really, we just want that your end clients to kind of understand their business as much as they can with as few questions from you as possible. And finally, let's say in the bottom right corner, we have our save as. So 3 options here. Saving as a draft means I'm not done making cosmetic edits to this. Saving as published means my client asked for this report one time. I'm going to publish this version of the report. And then saving it as a custom report basically means I want to run this report multiple times. So I save it as a custom report that saves all of my edits and then publish a version of that every single month. And then once you're done, we can export this into a PDF, style PDF, Excel, or a Google Sheet. All right, that's basically all I wanted to go over today. Thank you guys so much for bearing with my little cough attack there. We pushed through and made it. I'm going to jump into the chat real quick just to see if there's any questions. Someone's just helping me out, which I saw that earlier. Oh, well. But that's about it. We do have a couple more minutes at the end. Is there anything anyone else wanted to see? Any questions I could answer? All right, I guess I can kind of jump into. We have a couple minutes. I'll just share some of the new features we released at XeroCon this year. If anyone's using sales tax or often, we just released a new automatic sales tax, which will automatically pull your sales tax rates onto your invoices. And the invoice on your or the address on your contact card is what Avalara will be pulling in. So if you change the contact to Dallas from Colorado, the automatic sales tax would register that and change it to exactly what you want it to do. The new reconciliation tab I mentioned, we're all really excited about. And then we also have Xero Inventory Plus for anyone using e-commerce clients. And now I do have a question I'm going to read in here. All right, great question, Anna. Just in case anyone else can't see it, what are the features that make Xero stand out from other providers, such as QuickBooks? If I were to suggest Xero to our clients, what would I tell them? Better features, better pricing, etc. Well, definitely better pricing is definitely the first one that comes to mind, as well as the additional support that you get as an accountant and bookkeeper. All of our partners in Colorado have access to work with me, whether that's training their staff, onboarding clients with them, talking through any client scenarios. QuickBooks doesn't usually offer that level of service. So we do that for all of our partners in the area, as well as we only have our core accounting platform. We don't have the payroll, we don't have the payments, we don't have all this stuff. So we really focus all of our energy into our core accounting software where we can do these updates like automatic sales tax, where we can add in a nice inventory module. And we really focus on keeping the main thing in here. Happy to talk more about that one-on-one as well and how we can be a best fit for you. Because quite frankly, while we think we could be a great fit for everyone, sometimes it won't be a great fit. So we can always talk through that on a one-to-one basis as well.
I
All right,
won't
well,
mention
Daryl.
that. I won't mention that Austin and Devin might bring cookies if they come to your office to do a demo. So,
Yes, if anyone wants to do a demo, we will provide cookies as an extra incentive. Give
oh,
me another reason to go to Crumble for myself, Daryl.
yeah,
Appreciate it.
right. I know. Right, exactly. Oh, and Cindy gave you a good shout out. Nice.
Yep, Sydney's one of probably our longest partner that I can remember in Colorado. So she's a great resource for us and can also talk to Zero on
Yeah, you
another
could
level.
probably reach out to Cindy as well. Can we do a demo at the COCPA?
Yeah, for cookies.
Well, probably.
We could bring cookies by just for the CLCPA.
If Devin brings the cookies, yes. Yeah, Tiffany wants the cookies. Of course she does.
And then
Not that
Anna, your question.
I'm totally not against cookies.
Oh yeah, free cookies is always the best. One
Yeah.
last question: is there a basic version that is free? So Anna, if you sign up for the partner program, which is free, you could do your own firm's books for completely free, or basically just one free subscription. And you can utilize it for that. And I'm happy to help you walk you through that process and onboard your books with you if you wanted to.